My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling kind of snatched tonight, but it's kind of ridiculous because I'm home alone. Joe is out, which is really exciting because he almost never goes out. I mean, we go out, we do things, but I tend to be the one who's always running around, scurrying, meeting people, having brunches, having lunches and things like that. And he's kind of a homebody. So it's rare that I get to have the house to myself in the evenings, and I'm really excited. And this is what I'm doing. I'm filming, I'm getting snatched, and I'm having a drink. I'm actually drinking this hard seltzer, which is something that I've been really into lately, but I like to put it in this stemless champagne flute because it makes me feel fancy. Anyway, there's nothing like getting really glam just to film some Shop My Stash, just to shop my stash and tell you about it. I'm actually excited about this Shop My Stash. I feel like I'm getting more in touch with the way in which this project can be particularly useful to me. I'm kind of honing in on making Shop My Stash work for me instead of just like doing it in a rote manner as a popular YouTube project. So I think it's going to be a good one. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. First, as always, I will tell you about the things for which I shopped my stash last time. Oh, I forgot to mention that I rearranged my stuff, but I guess maybe I should just be cool and not mention it. But I rearranged my office a little bit because I decided to get a filing cabinet because I have, this is so embarrassing, but I have 3 kind of big boxes that I've never unpacked from our move. And one day I was just like, F this S, I need to unpack these boxes. And what's in them are papers. It's like 3 boxes of papers. And I know that I can consolidate, but I can't consolidate small enough for them to just be a small box that goes on a shelf. I needed a filing cabinet, and I'm a grown up and I have papers. I needed a filing cabinet. So I got the filing cabinet, but then when I was installing it in my little office corner, I had to move everything around, and this is what we ended up with. So I don't know if it's going to be like this forever. I might hate it. I might move it back. There are pros and cons, as there always are, to this kind of change. I'm already in the meat of the video and I'm talking intro business, so I'm going to move on to the actual meat. So first, the things for which I shopped my stash last time. If you watched that video, then perhaps you will remember that I decided to pick things that were the closest in my collection to things that I had been wanting. I believe I called the video Shopping My Stash for Wishlist Dupes. And the 3 types of makeup that I had been very much wanting were cream blushes, super sparkly, like sheer putty glittery overlay highlighters, and brown lipsticks. So I shopped my stash for my only cream blush, the Glossier Cloud Paint, pretty much my only highlighter that fits that extremely descriptive description that I just gave, and all of my, in any way, brown lipsticks. So let's start with the cream blush and the Fenty Diamond Glow How Many Carats business. I didn't end up using these. It was interesting. I shopped my stash for them because I had been using them a lot, because I had been craving cream blush and this. The thing that I wanted was this highlighter from Rituel de Fille called the Alchemist, I believe, that is sort of like this on steroids, I believe. It's like a really, really intense, super, super sparkly highlighter topper is what they bill it as. And pretty much since the day after I filmed that video, the desire for that product has evaporated. I just don't want it anymore. I waited it out and it went away, as almost always happens. But up until the day that I filmed that video, I had been really, really wanting it. It had been like eating at me. And so I had been using this a lot, wearing this a lot as a way of staving off that desire. And then it was pretty much right away after I filmed that video that the desire started to wane. I got over the hump and I started sledding down the other side of the mountain. And consequently, I just haven't been using this that much. I actually haven't been using highlighter all that much, very much at all. Me talking, I'm not drunk. I mean, I've had like half the thing, but I don't even have an empty stomach right now. I don't know. I'm not drunk. I'm just inarticulate. In any case, this was great at serving that purpose of being a wish list dupe, but I haven't gotten that much use out of it in this Shop My Stash project, which is fine. It's like, who cares? When I needed it, when I wanted it, I reached for it. But it wasn't a situation where I felt like this had been lost in the bottom of my collection, which I feel like is frequently what I do use my Shop My Stash project for, and what I have definitely used it for today when I shopped my stash. That wasn't what was going on with this. I had already been using it a lot. I had already been loving on it, and it was just the perfect candidate for that version of this project. And the same is kind of true of the Glossier Cloud Paint, although I definitely used this more than I used this one, and that makes sense. I mean, this is more everyday. It's more of kind of an effortless, unclockable look, whereas if you go in with the diamond veil bomb, how many carats thing, it's like, it's a look. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like glitter. It's amazing, and it's very, very wet look, but I feel like this is just, you know, it's easier to get away with. It's a little bit less of an intense choice. And the reason that I was wanting a cream highlighter to begin with is that I was wanting something that would mesh well with a cream blush. So the cream blush was kind of like the root of that desire. And I was enjoying this one so much that I was wanting more cream blushes, which is like not logical. I should have just continued to use this one. And so that was what I did. That was the point of it. That's why I put it in my Shop My Stash, was so that I could remember that I already had the thing that I was wanting. And then this was sort of like an adjacent desire. I should have gone in the other direction talking about them, in fact. But this, I've gotten a lot of use out of it, not just in my Shop My Stash, but over the years. The years? Is that right? I bought it right when it launched, and that must have been in 2017. It must have been 2017, because it was before my no-buy year, because I had this during my no-buy year. But it's a little goes a very long way with this product. It kind of feels like it's going to be never ending. And looking at the tube, I can see that I've made pretty respectable progress on this. So I feel good about my relationship with the Glossier Cloud Paint in Dusk. I use it a lot. I love the effect. And it definitely did help me to not go out and buy a bunch of expensive cream blushes, which is what I was wanting to do when I filmed my last Shop My Stash video. It helped that I had this and that I had it front and center, and that I was able to reach for it over and over again and keep using it. So that was good. I mean, I had already been doing that. That was similar to this. It was like why I shopped my stash for it, but then I definitely continued to use it more. So it was a good one. And I don't know, I have a strong appreciation for this product. I only have the one color. I used to have another color, the more orangey one, Beam, and I gave that away because I realized that this was just the one for me. It was the one that I wanted to have. I would always rather reach for it than for Beam, and I'm just really into it. It's an illustrious member of my makeup society. Okay, let's talk about the brown lipsticks. Their numbers have been fleshed out because I did end up purchasing 2 lipsticks that to me fall into the brown lipstick category this month. Was it this month? It was last month. Since I shopped my stash last, I purchased these 2 lipsticks. I think you already know, it's Maybelline Gone Greige and Maybelline Rock Chocolate. And the cool thing is that even though, so I shopped my stash for all of my brown lipsticks because I was wanting to buy brown lipsticks. So the idea was remind yourself of what you have, stop fixating on the new, instead just dwell in the wonderful things you already have. Get your fix from the things you already have. That was the point. And so I shopped my stash, I got these, and I started doing that. And I definitely wore all of these over the course of the roughly 1 month since I posted that last video. They've been sitting front and center on my vanity in this little box, and so they've been very appealing. It's been like tempting to reach for them, and so I have been. I've been wearing them a lot. I love them all. I've talked about them before. Will it have already gone up? I don't know, but I have a video that's either about to go up or that has already gone up where I swatch all of my brown lipsticks up close so you can see them and you can see what they look like compared to each other, and I go into detail. So it's like I'm really into my brown lipsticks, right? The cool thing was that I didn't buy these because of a fixation. I had let it go. And I talked a lot about this during my check-in last month, and I think another video recently, the video about all of the things that I purchased, and maybe another video. I feel like I've been touching on it a lot because it's a big deal for me. I didn't fixate and research and then like go to the store and like obsessively swatch and think and then obsessively buy and overbuy. I mean, I didn't like go all in like that. I bought them kind of casually. So even though, I guess this is what I've been trying to express, even though the last time I shopped my stash, I intentionally and publicly shopped my stash for wish list dupes to stave off the desire to buy more brown lipstick, I don't feel bad about the fact that I did buy brown lipstick because of the circumstances under which it happened and the way that it happened and the feeling surrounding it. And for that reason, when I brought these home, I added them to this box. I added them to my brown lipstick box because I was like, yay, more to join the party. And I continued to reach for all of them. And it just didn't feel frantic or manic. It didn't feel like these are my new ones and they're my only ones and they're my special ones. And I didn't like forget about these because of these. I just kind of added them and they just kind of joined the party. And it was exciting that they're there. I mean, they are, I said in my recent video ranking everything I've bought this year, they're in the top tier of things. It's two of my favorite things that I've bought this year. I feel unconditionally glad that I purchased these two lipsticks with my budget. But they didn't usurp the other ones. They just kind of joined the party. So this is kind of a weird review because I'm not going through and like reviewing all of my brown lipsticks one by one, having shopped my stash for them. I'm just talking about the fact that I actually did end up buying more brown lipsticks even though I had shopped my stash for brown lipsticks. I will say that I wore NYX London a lot, possibly the most of all of them. I love it because it's that kind of yellow brown. And even though I'm very, very pale and it's hard to tell because I struggle with redness on my skin, I'm pretty sure that I have quite a warm undertone. So regular neutral nudes and a lot of what are billed as nudes, pale nudes, read very, very pink on me. Like a lot of times I look at lipsticks being called nude and I'm like, that's a pink. There's so many nudes that are to me pink, and I'm not really interested in that. I don't really like pink that much. So it's precious to me to have found a more yellow nude that actually ends up looking nude or neutral brown on me rather than leaning very pink when it's, you know, contrasted with my skin tone. And I extra appreciated London during this month of Shop My Stash. I was reaching for it over and over again from this little box. And the liner too. I have the lip liner in London and I wear them together and I just love that look. I think I'm making quite a dent in this. When I filmed the overhead shot video swatching all of my brown lipsticks, I was kind of scraping the sides. So that's really interesting because I bought this in January. And that actually reminds me that having filmed that overhead video is another reason that I don't need to go into depth about all of these right now, because that video is either up or coming and it goes into detail about all of my brown lipsticks. So those are the things for which I shopped my stash last time. I felt like it was a rip-roaring success. I loved remembering to use the cream blush that I had. I enjoyed using this highlighter and remembering that I have a highlighter that plays well with cream blushes, even though I don't have any traditional cream highlighters really. I don't really have a collection of what you think of as like cream highlighters, but I do have this and it works. And I loved featuring my brown lipsticks instead of buying more. I say that because the brown lipsticks that I was fixated on, that I was thinking about buying, that I was wanting to buy, I didn't go buy. I didn't go and buy those. What I did was I shopped my stash for the brown lipsticks I already had instead of buying more. And then I feel like the fact that I happened to buy Raw Chocolate and Gone Greige was authentic to the flow of my life. It was organic. And that is what I'm striving for as a balanced lover of beautiful things and a person who budgets and shops in a balanced way. All right, let's talk about the things for which I shopped my stash this time. I thought that I was going to be really dramatic and only pick one thing. Today when I was planning this, I was working. This is Thursday. I'm filming this on a Thursday, and I always have a really long work day on Thursday. It's kind of like our Friday because Friday is our photo shoot day. So Thursday is the last work day, the last normal work day on which I do my writing time, and then I go to the studio and then I sew clothes. But it's always a really long work day for me because I have to have everything finished, all of the sewing finished by the end of the day, because we're going to wake up the next morning and I'm going to put on all the makeup and we're going to go over and photograph the clothes. And that's how the work week always ends for us. So I was at work until like 7:30 tonight. I just have to stay and keep working until all of the work is done. So I was in there, I was ironing, I was watching YouTube, and I was thinking about my shop my stash. And I was like, I'm just going to shop my stash. So I knew what I'm about to tell you, which is that I knew what I'm about to tell you, which is that I have had it in my mind that I have been eschewing red lipstick. And red lipstick is something that I really love. I need a little kick in the butt to wear more red lipstick. And it's summer and my nails are red tipped. And I think that what's going on is that I'm really into eyeshadow right now. And I'll sit down, and even if I plan to put on kind of a simple eye look, it'll end up being relatively editorial in some way. And then I feel shy to pair that with a bold lip because I feel like I'm going to look super made up, and that will make me not feel like myself, or that will make me self-conscious when I'm out in the world. But I think that there are other ways to tone down the look of looking too made up. I think that a relatively editorial eye, or an eye with a lot of glitter, for example, with a bold lip can work and not look too makeup-y if I don't wear highlight or blush, for example, or if I'm very, very careful to just spot conceal and to leave my skin looking really, really natural. I mean, there are other ways to achieve balance. It doesn't have to be only eyes or lips. That's not really the only choice. So I've been thinking about this. It's been percolating. One thing that has caused me to continue thinking about it is the release of Lisa Eldridge's summer collection, those bright pink lipsticks. And those bright pinks, that's something I used to really, really love to wear. Super editorial bright pinks, especially those matte ones that she came out with, those amazing, brilliant saturated mattes. So I've been thinking about the fact that that's a look that I love, but from which I have strayed pretty far, pretty dramatically. And I wanted, when I was working and I was conceiving of this, I conceived of using my Shop My Stash to push myself back into wearing red lipsticks. So my original plan, or red. Actually, when I was working, I was thinking red. I was like, I want to shop my stash for reds, but I already did a project where I shop my stash for like 10 bold lipsticks. So I decided, and this isn't what I ended up doing, but I decided first that I would just shop my stash for Tom Ford Wild Ginger and just put it right in the middle of my vanity for the entire month and wear it almost every day and make myself wear it even after I had put on an eye look that I normally wouldn't pair with a bold lip, but that it would be Wild Ginger all the time. And I loved that idea because I was like, when I asked for this for my birthday a couple of years ago, when I put it on my wish list, and then when I received it, I conceived of it as kind of my signature lip. I was thinking that every time I wore a red, it would be this. And I was thinking that I would be seen in it all the time. I was thinking that it would become my signature look, not just to wear a red, but to wear Tom Ford Wild Ginger specifically. I conceived of it in this kind of romantic way, and that has not ever been my relationship with it. I think, and I can't believe that I'm about to say this because it's revealing. I think of myself as someone who loves fancy things and is really comfortable with fancy things, but I think maybe because it feels too fancy. And even though I usually relish fancy things, I think maybe this is so fancy, like it's so expensive, so luxury, that I'm doing that thing that I almost never do and that I don't really think of myself as a person who does, which is that I'm sort of saving it Like I think of it as sort of my fancy lipstick. And I want it to be a beater. I want it to be my everyday. I want it to be a signature. And I've been saying that this whole time. I feel like I've said it every time this lipstick has come up on my channel. So I thought, what if I just do it for a month? Just make it my signature lip. Just wear it all the time. Wear a red lip several times a week and always have it be Tom Ford Wild Ginger. So that was my original spiel. That was what I was going to do. And I'm still going to do that. I'm still shopping my stash for Tom Ford Wild Ginger. It's still going to be on my vanity. All of what I just said is true. But as I continue to work, I got the brilliant idea of adding in Nars Shiap. Sorry, I didn't show you Wild Ginger, but here it is. It's just a brilliant red orange, and it's in this incredibly luxurious formula. I love everything about it, literally everything. All right, so Nars Shiap is the reason that I don't feel like I want or need to buy any of Lisa Eldridge's lipsticks. It's not exactly the same. I think that it's maybe a little bit more cool toned than either of her velvety matte releases, and of course the formula is probably very different, but it is a brilliant statement stamped on inky velvet, white-based opaque magenta. And it's an iconic lipstick, and it's an iconic lipstick to me as well, like in my own life, in my own history, similar to Tom Ford Wild Ginger, and similarly, I almost never wear it. I think I wore it last year one time. Like that's how it's been going with me and Shiap. So they're gonna be together as my two main gigs sitting on my vanity, and I'm going to try to wear one of these two lipsticks most of the time this month. Call me crazy. Really going crazy. Really going crazy this month. That's what I'm gonna try to do, and I'm gonna see how it goes. I decided to throw in a third item just because it had occurred to me over the course of the month that this is overdue for a Shop My Stash. This is the Nars Bord de Plage face palette, and it's this highlighter called Rivage that I have said several times is my all-time favorite highlighter. I don't know if you can see that, but I have significant pan there in the middle. So Rivage, I have said several times, is my favorite highlighter of all time, and I just haven't used it in months. I've just forgotten about it because this is with my palettes, and then my single highlighters are all separate, and I tend to look in that drawer when I'm looking for a highlight. So I would like to get back in touch with this, check back in with it, see if it's still my favorite, maybe test out the bronzers in this palette now that I'm a little more comfortable with bronzing, and maybe mess around with some of the other highlighters in here. Just, I want to resuscitate this, which is kind of the original purpose of a Shop My Stash. And basically last month, after I had filmed my Shop My Stash video, I had a moment where I was like, I should have shot my stash for that Nars palette. Like I just thought about it and I was like, well, I should have put it in there. Darn, I'll have to do it next month. And so it's in honor of that moment that I decided to pick it. And also because the idea of just shopping my stash for one thing was extremely romantic. And when I broke that fantasy by adding in another one, I was like, okay, let's just do it all regular and add a third one. It's still not that regular because it's just 3 things. I'm doing this intense, focused Shop My Stash on just these 3 things, really with serious focus on the lipsticks. I think I'm just gonna have this on my vanity and sort of try to use it and think about it and report back about it. But these are the real heart, the meat of the project this month. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching this Shop My Stash video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys think in the comment section down below, especially if you have opinions about this red lipstick or this bright lipstick thing that's going on. It's like, I love it. I love the idea of it. I love how they look. I mean, every time I wear a bright lipstick for filming when I'm editing, literally every time when I'm editing, I'm like, I've got to wear bright lipsticks more often. I think maybe they look better than I think they do. I think it's when I'm editing myself talking and I see myself in motion that I see that they really do look good. But something stops me when I'm just sitting in front of the mirror from putting them on because I feel like it's going to be too much or that it's not flattering or something. I don't know. That's why I'm saying it now in the outro, because if you guys have enlightenment about this, I would love to know it. If you've sort of dealt with the same thing, if you've questioned the same thing, if you have the same semi-confused relationship with bright lipstick, I would love to hear about it. All right, let me know what you think, and don't forget to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.